The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Kootenai County, Idaho, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32369. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the face of the front bumper, you'll find 2 closed tow hooks. There is also a warning indicator just below those for direct pull use. Moving to the driver's side, you'll find 2 air horns. Moving up onto the front bumper extension, you'll find a 2.5-inch swivel discharge. Moving just inward of that location, you'll find 2 tubbed storage locations for hose. And then moving to the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the body, you'll find your headlight structure housing the low and high beam headlights. The inside light is your high beam and the outer light is the low beam. Moving up from that, you'll find your turn indicator and an emergency warning light. Moving up onto your seamless one-piece windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers. To the outer edge mirrors, you're going to find a flat and convex portion mirror. And then moving to the brow of the apparatus, you're going to find 5 running lights. Moving up on top of the roof of the apparatus cab, you're going to find slightly angled emergency warning lights. Located over the driver's seat, you'll find your Opticom system. Let's take a look at the side of the vehicle. On the bumper extension is where you'll find emergency warning lights side facing. Up onto the side of the body, you'll find a turn marker indicator. Here's some close-ups of those images that we just spoke about. This is the 2.5-inch discharge. This is a foam and water capable discharge. Just to the side of it, you'll find a tubbed hose storage location. Let's go ahead and move around to the driver's area. First, there are shoreline inlets. This is a 20 amp plug. Moving to the right of that location, there is an engine heater, which is a 15 amp plug. And then just to the right, there is an air inlet. Moving down just below this area, you'll find a smaller compartment space. Let's go ahead and look to the pump panel. First, let's identify some warning labels here. First, in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to find an entanglement hazard because of those hoses coming off above. You'll also find instructions here for your Husky foam system. Moving to the right, you'll find fall warning regarding not to ride on the side of the apparatus. Directly in the center, you'll find a only trained personnel should utilize this piece of equipment only after they've been serviced and trained. To the right, you'll find a warning label regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards while removing those caps under pressure. And then at the very bottom, you'll find a danger label regarding electrocution hazard. And then to the right, you'll find a do not batch mix any type of different types of foam brands or consistencies. Starting in the upper left, we'll find your foam manifold gauge. Moving to the right, the yellow is your number 1 crosslay, foam and water capable. Number 2 in red, crosslay, foam water capable. And then to the very far right, you'll find the 2.5-inch crosslay, foam and water capable. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll find your hail thermal relief valve, and then just beneath that, you'll find an audible alarm. Moving to the left module, this is your red Husky module. This is the control module for your foam system. Just beneath that, you'll find the foam level indicator. And then to the right, you'll find the foam instructions and also the specifications for your Husky 3 foam system. Moving to the right, you'll find the number 2 passenger side discharge, which is orange in color. And then to the right, you'll find your aerial discharge. This is a wheel, and on the wheel valve, you'll notice it is an open-close indicator. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll also find your engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. And then further to the right, you'll find your fire pump primer. This is an air primer, so there are instructions just below that you should have at least 1,000 RPMs while maintaining the prime. Down the lower section, you'll find your Pierce minimum maintenance schedule. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Once again, just directing you up to the top, this is the audible alarm. As we move to the gray area, this is the master intake gauge. Moving to the right, you'll find your master discharge, test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. To the right, you'll find your throttle pressure governor, and then all the way moving up to the right, you're going to find a panel light. Just beneath that panel light, you'll find an indicator that's green, indicating that your pump is properly engaged. There is also a green indicator here that should be illuminating to increase your throttle. And then just beneath that, an additional audible alarm, the outer edge of the bezel, adjust the volume. Moving down to the left, you'll find your front discharge. This is a water foam capable discharge. And then to the right, you'll find your passenger side 2.5-inch discharge. Moving further to the right, you'll find your water level indicator from refill, quarter, half, 3/4, and full indicator lights. Down in the lower left, you'll find the main pump drain. And then to the right, you'll find your manual pump shift. Further to the right, you'll find your tank fill and recirculating line. And if you look all the way to the left, the gray wheel gauge is going to be your large diameter discharge. Here's a close-up of the master intake and master discharge. Once again, those test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. As we look to the right, this is your throttle pressure governor from Pierce. There's a digital display in the very top section. Also indications for pump engaged and throttle ready. In red, you'll find the idle button. There is the ability to pre-program presets. That's the orange button. In the blue, you have the menu silence button, and to the green, you have the mode, either selecting pressure, PSI, or RPM throttle. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll find the two yellow indicators. One is increase and the other is decrease your throttle. And then down at the very bottom, you'll find indicator lights regarding engine diagnostic information. Let's move further down. You'll find the number 1 driver's side discharge. This is white in color. And as we look down to the very bottom, this is your minimum operation maintenance schedule for your pump. We'll talk a little bit about that in the next set of images. Behind the American flag Eagle Pierce logo, that's your large diameter pump intake. And then to the right, we've got 2 pan doors. We'll talk about some contents behind those. But let's move all the way to the very far left. This is your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. This is a female inlet, and it is a ball valve. To the right, you'll find your Watrous placard. This is the type of pump that you have. It also dispels the type of GPM that your pump is rated for. Down in the lower section, you'll find the associated drains color-coded and labeled. You do have a foam system. This is the draft foam and also the inlet for that. And then there's also that warning label above. Down in the lower pan door area, you're going to find access for your foam fill operations. This is horizontal position is for normal operations. In the vertical position would be for filling. At the very top, you're going to find a foam drain. That is going to be a twist, not a pull. That is to drain your foam system. Let's move to the left-hand side of this. This is that 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. And then you'll find all your associated drains for cross lane number 1, driver's side, and also your auxiliary side inlet. This is the minimum operation schedule for your apparatus. This is for 150, 200, and 250 pump test pressures. The GPM is the number on the left-hand side, and on the right is the associated RPMs to gain that 150 PSI. The job number is in the upper left. As we look to the left just above the pump panel, this is midship, we're going to find access door behind this diamond plate and then also hose storage. To the right, you'll find grab handles and also a fold down step to gain access to go aloft. Let's take a look at some of those close-ups here. Here is that compartment in the open position. My assumption this would be for board storage. As we move to the very bottom, you're going to find foam pump discharge drain and foam pump intake drain. These are just underneath the running board. We're up in the dunnage area now. This is going to be your Harrison hydraulic generator. There is also a breather and also a fill location just to the left. As we move to the center, you'll find your Husky 3 foam system hydraulic pump, and there is also a fill location and sight gauge on your left. Up at the top of the images where you'll find the yellow cord reel. This is a 200-foot 20-amp outletted reel. As we move to the top of the apparatus, you're going to find a breather for your hydraulic tank and then also the foam fill location. There is also a warning label here not to mix consistencies, brand, or also different types of foam percentages. Moving up to the top in the cab area, you'll find this is a non-walking surface. There is a warning label here regarding not to walk on that for slip hazards. As we move through some of the compartments, just next to the pump panel, we're going to find a roll-up compartment door. Inside this compartment is where you're going to find your 12-gallon DEF tank. That's the blue cap. As we look to the upper left-hand corner in this same compartment, this is where you're going to find your electrical panel. Let's talk a little bit about some of that. This is the generator amperage, and there's also a fuse just in the very front. To the right, you'll find the G1, which stands for generated power. This is the electrical box for that, and there's also a warning label here regarding electrocution. As we look at that panel, you'll find on the generator side, there is a small fuse in the round section here, and that's giving your AC voltage. In the upper top, you're going to find this yellow placard regarding continuous power supply rating. And then you'll find just beneath that all of the G1 breakers individually labeled. As we look underneath the vehicle, you'll find the location for your folding wheel chock storage. Moving through the sides of the compartments, you'll find these smaller compartments that house your bottle storage locations. There is also some warning labels here regarding danger. Because of this aerial device and the ladder in the upright position, there is the possibility of electrocution if in contact with electrical wire. In this compartment, you'll also find your tool board. There is a D handle to unlock, and on the left-hand side of the hinge is where you'll find the locking mechanism to release the tool board to restore it to its original position inside the compartment. In between the duals, you'll find 2 bottle storage locations here. And as we move to the rear, additional bottle storage. This is indicating here the ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. This is the silver cap. Let's continue through some of the compartments next. As we move through, you'll find an additional small compartment. This is just over the rear wheels, and then we'll move to the roll-up compartment to the very back section here. You'll find adjustable shelving and LED lighting. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find this release mechanism. It's the round bar just underneath the ladder step. That'll allow the ladder to drop down or pull outward away from the apparatus for gaining personnel to go aloft. In that same specific space, there is also an inclinometer to front to rear elevation. As we look through the back of the vehicle, you're going to find a variety of different pan doors. We'll talk a little bit about what's behind those. In the very top left, you'll find an emergency warning light. As we move through, we'll talk a little bit about some of the safety items also. At the very top, you'll find emergency warning lights. Moving just inward of that location, you'll find your rear scene lights. Moving downward, a couple more warning labels here. This is going to be a pressurized cap hazard warning label. Because of those caps under pressure, there is danger while removing those caps. In the upper left-hand corner, you're going to find a do not ride on the side of the apparatus for fall injury. And then you also have a warning label here regarding the ability, if you short jack the apparatus, there is a possibility to tip the apparatus. Down at the very bottom, you're going to find the large diameter intake for your ladder. There's also a gauge in this area. And then the same inclinometer, this is going to be from passenger side to driver side or left to right. This is inclinometer for green, yellow, or red. Also, you'll find closed tow hooks, and at the very top, you're going to find your backup camera. This is that inclinometer that I referred to earlier. This is the one between the steps from 0 to 5 is in the green. As we move back to the very back, you'll find the same inclinometer on the very back of the apparatus. As we move to the compartments here, this is on the left-hand side, which is going to be the driver's side. First, you have your high idle on-off switch. You also have the ability to control emergency hydraulic power from here, and then your stabilizer controls. You can see this is the stabilizer moving it from outward and inward on the boom section, and then the next one down is going to be lowering it from ground or away from the ground. You do need 2 green indicators to be successful in placing that stabilizer control for those pressure points. Just inside the pan door here, you'll also find the aerial inlet relief valve. And then as we move to the next pan door across the very center bottom, you'll find all of your emergency overrides. This is going to be your aerial emergency power and also your stabilizer emergency power. It's a close-up of that switch. The valves below are independently controlled, and there also is instructions on that area. To the right, this is the exact same function as the passenger side and driver side. In the center, you'll find a roll-up door to gain the ground ladders and also long tool storage at the very top section. As we move through some of the other images here, you'll also find your folding ladder, all your various firefighting equipment for long tool storage. Close up here of your backup camera just on the top of the vehicle above those ladder storage locations. And then you can also see the outer section here of that ladder being deployed in the downward position for personnel to go aloft. This is your hose storage location on the passenger side rear of the vehicle. We'll now move through some of the items on the aerial. We're at the turntable rear section. There is a rear compartment here for storage. Let's go ahead and identify some of the items in the pedestal area. You do have in this orange foot switch area, this is going to be a dead man switch, and to the left you'll see in the red, this is going to be an alignment for your aerial to make sure you're vertically aligned. You also have access inside the pedestal area through these pan style doors and also hinged doors. To the right, you're going to find some crush warning information and also electrocution and fall hazard information. You're also going to find your right and left rotation overrides located inside this area, and also a warning label regarding a tip hazard. As we move inside the pedestal area on the left-hand side of the cover, you're going to find all three indications here: warning, caution, and also danger. Please familiarize yourself with each of those three individual warnings. As we move to the actual control module of the pedestal, first in the upper left-hand corner, you'll find this yellow indicator indicating caution that your stabilizers are not fully extended. To the right, you'll find a rung alignment indicating in green that your rungs have aligned for climbing of the ladder. In the center, you're going to find your waterway flow. It's a digital readout in GPM. And then to the right, you'll find your hydraulic system pressure. To the left, you're going to find the high idle, your DC lights, the test indicator, and also emergency hydraulic power. The indicator test is to indicate if those lights are functioning properly. Down in the lower section, you're going to find nozzle control, where you can deploy or stow the nozzle. You can see there's an indicator light that it has been stowed properly. And there's also stream controls down in the lower section. Moving down to the next section, this is going to be your ladder controls. On the left-hand side, you're going to find your extension and retraction. In the center, you're going to find rotation left and right. And then you're going to find elevation for lower or raise. On the inside of the cover, on the very top section, when it's in the open position, you'll be able to see these load charts. This is in regards to your 75-foot steel aerial ladder load chart. This is a 500-pound wet or dry, and it also has a tip capacity. It's also for wind conditions at 50 miles an hour. In addition to this waterway dry and waterway charged information, there is also nozzle position. And then beneath that, there are capacities based on following conditions. Those may be for icing conditions or anything other listed in the chart. To the very far left-hand side, you'll find the NFPA 1911 load chart information. Here are some close-ups on those areas that we just talked about. This is going to be the very top section of the covered area, in addition with your ladder control and nozzle control. Let's look just above the pedestal is where you're going to find your intercom system. The black round circle is the speaker for the intercom system. The lower section is the control module. On the left, you have volume increase or decrease with an LED bar indicating the volume level. To the right, you'll find your push to talk. This is going to be for your intercom system. On the left-hand side of the aerial ladder itself, you'll find this inclinometer from 0 to -10 and from 0 to 80 degrees. Let's take a look at the ladder. On the fly section here, you're going to find fold-down steps. This is about the lower section of the last fly, and at the very tip of the fly, you'll find additional fold-down steps also. There are two tracking lights, right and left side, for your aerial device. As we move through, this is the top version here, looking down at where your hose storage location is. And then we'll move now down to the side. Once again, bottle storage location also on this side. Most of the items here mirror the driver's side as far as location and content. Once again, your compartments do have LED lighting, the ability to have shelving or adjustable shelving inside those compartments. As we move through, you can see between the two wheels here in the rear, 2 bottle storage locations. And then as we move through, I would like to point out this danger placard here regarding electrocution. Be cautious when you're operating your aerial ladder. Down at the lower section, I'd also like to point out this warning label regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move midship of the apparatus, we'll talk about a couple more warning labels. Do not ride on the side of your apparatus. That is a fall indication. Also a warning regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards while relieving those pressurized caps. To the right, you also have some warning and danger information here regarding your cab lift. There are 2 fold-down steps on the left-hand wall of this image. And then we'll go through some of the items also within this area. First, starting with this pan door. We'll talk about the content behind it in just a moment. This is the reel rewind switch for your 200-foot electrical reel. You also have 2 2.5-inch discharges located on this side. And then to the right, once again, your cab lift, and we'll talk about the functions of that in the next set of images. Down at the very bottom, the Pierce American Flag Eagle is your large diameter pump intake. And to the right, you'll find your large diameter pump discharge. Down at the very bottom, you're going to find your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. This is a female coupling. And then across the very bottom, you'll find all your associated drains, color-coded and also labeled. Let's go ahead and move up from this location. This is the point where that reel comes through. This is that 200-foot electrical reel. To the right, you'll find your cross lay or speed lays. And then further to the right, you also have passenger side access to that board storage location. Let's take a quick look. This is that 200-foot 20-amp cord reel rewind switch. And then as we move inside the compartment, this gains access behind the pump panel, so you don't have to remove the entire pump panel to gain access. This is your cab lift operations instructions. To raise the cab is on the left-hand side, and to lower the cab is on the right. There are also some caution and danger. This is a protected switch for raise and lower, and the activate is on your right. Just a quick view here of the pump panel area. Once again, all of your associated discharge drains. 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet, and you can see to the left, this is the auxiliary inlet drain. To the right, once again, color-coded, 2.5 and number 2 crosslay. Let's go ahead and move to the top. You have 2 pole lights, one on the passenger and also on the driver's side. These are adjustable. As we move to the cab, you'll find that same configuration as the driver's side. But let's move inside the cab now. At all points of entry, you'll find warning labels here regarding the use of seatbelt and additional information. At the hinged area, you'll find this red grab handle to assist firefighters in and out of the cab. As we look to the rear section of the engine, you'll find at this location an access point. This gains access for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Just looking overhead, you'll find push on and off red and white lights overhead, in addition with your hangers for your headset system. Inside this compartment, you'll find SCBA storage, adjustable shelving, and LED lighting. Also within inside these compartments, some of them may have additional outlets when plugged into shore power, activating those outlets. For example, in the upper right-hand corner here, this is an outlet. I do not know if this is for generated power or shore power. Directly behind the seat, you will find a shoreline outlet. This is when plugged into shore power. You also have a 12-volt access point here. This is going to be USB style. Once again, points of entry, we've got a list of warning indications here on every point of entry. You'll also find that red grab handle as you gain access inside the cab. There is additional information here regarding this access panel. This is where a tremendous amount of electrical information is behind modules, so do not block that area. In the upper left-hand corner, the foot pedals for your air horn and siren. Moving to the right dash area, you'll find a light box. Moving just inside to the left, you're going to find 12-volt barrel-style access and also USB-style access. Let's go ahead and go overhead in the passenger seat. will identify the FireCom module system. Just beneath that module system, this is for your wireless headset system. This is also through FireCom. As we move to the driver's area, you'll find a point of entry. You'll find a list of those warning and hazard labels. We're also going to find the use of seatbelts. Our seatbelts are red and colored for ease of identification so that people know you have your seatbelt on. Down in the lower right-hand side of the operator's ankle, you'll find additional information. This is the manufactured Pierce label. This has the date of manufacture, the job number, and also the gross vehicle weight ratings, cold tire inflation, VIN number, and then all of your individual fluid capacities for the component, the type of fluid, and also the fluid location. Close up here, mechanical siren on the left, and on the right, your air horn. This is about knee height of the operator, left knee. This is your battery switch master. To the right, you'll find a diagnostic port for the engine transmission. This is basically your J1939 diagnostic port. Down the lower section, you'll find your ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and then also your engine inhibit, which is for regen. Just above that, you're going to find your interaxial differential lock. When it's engaged, you'll find the red light is on. And then to the far right knee, you're going to find the air horn shut off. This is a just turn valve. You'll also find your road to pump and from pump to road. This is your pump shift. You can see that there are two green indicators. For your pump to properly be engaged, you need both indicators before exiting the cab. Let's move to the right area. Just above that pump shift is where you're going to find your main mirror and also your convex mirror controls. And on the left-hand side of the dash, we're going to find the ignition switch and also the start switch. To the right, you'll find the EM, which stands for Emergency Master. That's on the dash. And then also you'll find your headlights and also panel switch, which will increase or decrease the lumens within the panel area. This is going to be your dash. On the left, your transmission oil DEF level water tank. In the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. To the right, you're going to find volts, fuel, front and rear air, and then informational diagnostic above and below the speedometer. Let's start in the upper right-hand corner of the dash area. You're going to find USB and also barrel style 12-volt access. The left here in chrome is going to be the barrel style. To the right is going to be a USB. Those are both 12-volt access points. Just beneath that, you're going to find your aerial master, aerial PTO, a indicator that your aerial PTO has been engaged. You also have a generator PTO switch and generator PTO engaged. That's an indicator also. Front wheel lock. And then to the right, you have your windshield wipers. Push on that if you want fluid to be displayed onto the windshield. Just above that, you're going to find your backup camera monitor. And as we move further down to the next set of switches, we're going to find your engine brake. It's an on-off switch. And then you have a setting switch for low, medium, and high. You do have an indication here for stabilizers not stowed. That's in red. You do have off-road traction, perimeter lights, and also mirror heat. Let's move further down. This is your system parking brake. Pull to apply and push to release. That releases your air brakes. To the right, this is your Allison transmission pad with a digital readout as to the gear that you're in. And you do have an indication to pump and drive. Climate control, AC and heat, red and blue, and then also your defrost. Let's look overhead of the operator. 11 feet, 7.75 inches, length 39 feet, 8.5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 70,800 pounds, and it has your 5-digit job number also located in the left corner. If you make any changes to your apparatus, please update this placard. Moving to the right, you're going to find your emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and your upper rear warning. When any of these switches are in the engaged or on position, the indicator behind the switch will actually illuminate, indicating that it's on. Moving to the right, we're going to find the same set of switches, Opticom, clear roof. The red is going to be a siren brake. As we move to the right, you'll find your driver's side alley lights, passenger side alley lights, and then your load manager. Moving further to the right, you're going to find your Freedom HF. This is basically your battery tender and also inverter. Further to the right, you'll find the Pierce seatbelt information. Green indicating someone is in the seat and they are belted properly. Red indicating that they are in the seat but not properly belted. Down at the lower section, you're going to find a red indicator light. If your compartments or anything is open, this light will activate, indicating not to move your apparatus. Looking overhead inside the cab, you can see your air conditioning unit, push on and off red and white lights. Here is a couple images here of the side of the vehicle with your department logo, in addition with a logo on the side of your aerial ladder. Let's now take a look at some of the functions within the aerial ladder. First, in the very center, you're going to find your large diameter discharge, master stream device. You also have on the passenger side a chainsaw scabbard. Moving forward of that location, you'll find adjustable LED spotlights. And then as we move further down, just behind the red section of the ladder is where you'll find your intercom system. A couple more just general images here of the ladder itself. As we look through, ladder 13, it appears, is your call sign. Congratulations on your new fire apparatus. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any questions about your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.